When Bluey was originally broadcasted on Australian television in 2018, it received monumental acclaim within Australia for the concepts presented throughout the series. On modern parenting in Australia, modern themes relating to Australia, on the social dynamic of Australia, while the main focus were of obvious themes relating of children, to children, on for children, due to the series later being exposed with an international audience through Disney, vague details were later questioned for and theorized with. But the speculative scenario is this: why was the depiction of Bandit's father so inconsistent in Bluey? All of the associated characters within the original series were all surprisingly complex, as there were many examples of praise for series creator and head writer Joe Brumm for the depictions he had created for nearly every character in the series, as to why they did what they did, on their opinions of various things, to even events shown or depicted throughout the series. The related subject matter was simple enough for a child to understand, casual enough for viewers to comprehend, and in-depth enough for those who wanted to know as much as possible. When the family of Bandit or Chili are mentioned to viewers, on related lore established for the said characters. But it was interesting to notice that in the original series there was a character that had inconsistencies with their depiction and was even ignored or retroactively changed throughout the progression of the series. From information now known, details for the character were as such due to problems during development for the series, and an uncertainty for a majority of the cartoon by producers and screenwriters of the Bluey canon. Ian McFadden, the voice actor for Bandit's father who first portrayed the character in season 1 episode Grannies, conflicting sources actually called the individual suffer from COVID and or related health issues of the time. The uncertainties that the actor had with his role actually had him unable to perform as Bandit's father during the early episodes and seasons of the show. The situation became so uncertain that dialogue mentioned by the other characters, who were voiced by consistent actors and actresses, mentioned in various episodes inconsistent details about Bandit's father, as one particular episode might have had one particular detail, while in another episode might have had statements which contradicted the prior example from the prior episode. The original concept, by popular opinion, were as a result of the inconsistencies by the Bluey screenwriters and producers how the character die off within the series. While this might have been acceptable for secondary characters, the fact that Bandit's father and Bluey's grandfather to be potentially dead would have been unacceptable to the viewers and the fans of the cartoon. As a result, Joe Brumm had to publicly decree that the character wasn't dead, but did not necessarily clarify on further details as much during that time. From the episode of Grannies in season 1, there were still occasions between more frequent characters on dialogue mentioned by these individual characters from Bluey's extended family were present or depicted. As such, vague or unclear details were given for the character not being present or was infamously ignored with no clear explanation at all. Eventually, the voice actor was recast with Sam Simmons in season 3 episode Fairy Tale, as this was intentionally done to force the continuity to show that Bandit's father was still alive. Joe Brumm later admitted that due to the uncertainty with the health of Ian McFadden, his character wasn't recast when he probably should have been earlier in the series. But as a result of not having Bandit's father in the series nearly at all, most of the grandfather themed episodes were instead displayed by Chili's father Mort. The situation wasn't done any better for the original series due to the fact that from Grannies in season 1 episode 28 to Fairy Tale in season 3 episode 130 as mentioned were a separation of 102 episodes. If details for the character were done differently, it might have completely changed the premise, but nothing more was done during the original era of Bluey.